This video may not be for everyone. It's about a long journey with a company called Radio Shack, and I thought we'd do a little nostalgic tour of the good old days. Radio Shack was an electronic company, and they started a very long time ago. I got involved with them, started buying stuff from them in the early 1970s, and that was my earliest interest in electronics, if you don't include my crystal radio I built when I was 7 years old. These jumpers are some of the oldest things I bought from them. The ones that are corroded on the ends go back to the early 70s. And yeah, so that was some of the first things I bought. And then there were these notebooks. There were 3 of these books. I think this is a yellow one, there was a blue one, and I can't remember the other color, maybe it was green. But they had interesting projects you could build from Radio Shack parts. What else about that? Made by a guy named Forrest M. Mims III. He was actually very well known at the time. And then there's this plug power strip over here, and I'll show you why I have that in a little bit, show you why I bought it. But I bought this in the early 80s as part of my growing family of Radio Shack parts. Okay, so I've got some things that I no longer own, but I got photographs of them, so let's step over to the computer and we'll take a look at those, and then we'll come back here to the bench and look through some stuff that I have remaining. If you don't count my crystal radio when I was about 7 years old, I first got into electronics at about 1972 when I was in high school. And in 1983, this is the first picture I have of my workbench. So it had a long time to grow before this picture. But yeah, there's a lot of Radio Shack stuff here. Let's go over it quickly. Here's my Radio Shack multimeter. And if we go up here, there's a Radio Shack circuit board and bag. That's from the store. Obviously, I just gotten home fairly recently with some stuff. All of these blue cabinets right here are Radio Shack, and they are stuffed with Radio Shack things. So here you can see in this one is a blue card from the store, and here's a microphone which I wish I still had. I can't tell what's in the bottom drawer, but some clips alligator clips from Radio Shack. And these 3 drawers are all full of inductors that came in a big package. Yeah, you bought this like huge package of assorted inductors from Radio Shack. These capacitors are not, I can't tell what's over here, but yeah, this is a cadmium sulfide photocell, and these are some parts. I can't really tell what they are, but yeah, good chance it's Radio Shack stuff. Okay, so moving over to the next Radio Shack cabinet, we have wire wrap wire here and here. We have their wire they sold for kits for building your own stuff, and it came stranded or solid. Here is a bag of grommets, which I still have, and yeah, some LEDs from Radio Shack. I still have a few of those. And up here, I don't know. These are my tools, some of which are from Radio Shack. And I don't know down there. On top of this is a Heath kit. This is a Heath kit device. But you can see some Radio Shack stuff here and here. That pot is Radio Shack. And let's go back up here. Yeah, I think these are ICs, and most of my ICs at the time I bought through Radio Shack. And this cabinet is resistors, again, mostly Radio Shack. This box here, assorted capacitors from, yes. And this cabinet had all sorts of stuff. More capacitors and other things like that. I think I skipped over this. These are some Radio Shack components up here. This one I still have. I'll show you that later. This is a power supply, and I think this is in its 3rd iteration. So originally the stuff was inside here, but as I upgraded it and made it more powerful, the transformer was too big to fit inside there. So all that's Radio Shack. And then finally, the soldering iron over here is Radio Shack. So yeah, some things that aren't on this desk right now were my transistor checker, which I recently gave away. A frequency counter, which this is a mock-up because I couldn't find an actual picture online or anything of it. but it looked like my TI calculator, so I took my TI calculator, I photoshopped it, removed the keys, but that's pretty much what it looked like. And then finally is a clock. This was, I think they marketed it as like an atomic clock or something like that, but it updated itself from WWV Fort Collins, Colorado, and it's inside of a Radio Shack, which I helped fix up for a volunteer group. And a lot of the components back in here were all Radio Shack. So yeah, a lot of Radio Shack. Here is my Radio Shack computer system from 1983. Starting out with a 300 baud modem right here, and then the computer itself, this was originally a 32K, which was the big version, but I did the illegal modification of taking it up to 64K, which of course voided the warranty. And the tape recorder, which is how you backed up your programs once you wrote them. I did have a 5 1/4 floppy, but for some reason it's not here. Maybe that's what's sitting down here on the chair right there. And then here is an interface, which for the life of me, I can't remember what that was. Yeah. And then there's the TV interface back in here. And of course, finally, something else we've already seen is this power strip, this is why I bought it, was to power my color computer. So yeah, okay, well that's it for the stuff I no longer have, but have memories of. Let's go back over to the bench and see the real things I've got remaining from all those years ago. If you've seen any of my soldering videos, you've seen this tool tray, and let's start taking stuff out of here. No, that's not Radio Shack, that's not Radio Shack, not Radio Shack. Wow, do I have anything from Radio Shack in here? Ah, right here. This is a, what they call it, an etching pencil. So it's got a tungsten carbide tip on it. And that's been a very useful tool. Had that one for a very long time. I made a video on this. This is a wire wrap tool. And in the butt is the stripper. Yeah, like that. Let's see if there's anything else in here. This kind of daily stuff. This thing right here. I can't recall if this is Radio Shack or if that's Heathkit. That is a dip package remover, so you don't give yourself whatever it was, 8, 10, 12 perforations in your finger trying to remove dip packages. And yeah, I think that's it for this tray. So let's show where this tray came from. Now this tray came from right here, and of course this cabinet is from Radio Shack. I used to have 3 of them. I have this one, I have a bigger one which we'll look at, and I had 2 of the bigger ones at one time, but they got crushed in a move many years ago. The one big one I could straighten out. Now, what is this? This is wire wrapping stuff, and it goes with a wire wrap tool we looked at earlier. The wire wrap is from Radio Shack, and so is this fancy little holder, dispenser, whatever you want to call it. So I've got 1, 2 of those. What else is in here? I think this is from Heathkit. And for this, yeah, that's all for that drawer. Let's pop over here. There is some more wire wrap wire. One of my dispensers got destroyed. And Radio Shack used to sell these spools of wire. They came either in stranded or solid wire. This one is not. These 3 are, and those are not down there at the bottom. But yeah, at some point you kind of run out of the old stuff and replace it with something similar. And what else we got? Okay. Oh yeah, over here, this is a bag of grommets from Radio Shack. There it is. You can see Archer right there. So yeah, some of them are still original, some of them are not. Yeah, everything down in here is not Radio Shack. Well, actually, see this yellowed thing right here? Yeah, that's actually a original Radio Shack piece. And well, let's see. One of these is full of the, not that one. One of these is full of the standard, nope, not that one. It must be down below. I've got a whole can of these that are the Radio Shack screws. They sold their own set of screws. They had the standard sizes that were used in electronics at the time. A lot of these light bulbs I no longer have the paper for them, but like this, that's just a regular flashlight bulb, came from Radio Shack. This was Radio Shack. This is a fuse holder. These are solder in fuse holders. So many of these light bulbs, all Radio Shack. I think the last time I bought anything from Radio Shack was definitely 25 years ago, because we moved away from any place where there were Radio Shacks. Some of the fuses probably are. I can't identify them for sure to be Radio Shack, but anyway. Okay. And almost all of these, the wire wrap sockets, yeah, they are all from Radio Shack. This one was actually gold plated, and it's so old that the gold has gone away. It's the stuff underneath is corroded and gone away. Ooh, that one didn't fare well. Yeah, so almost all this is Radio Shack stuff, the wire wrap. Let's see, I'm not doing this in any great order. No. Yes, and I think one of these others are, yeah, the short ones are definitely from Radio Shack. And the other stuff is not. And this, I think, was, this is a ribbon cable connector for a computer, for an old hard drive. Yeah, a lot of Radio Shack stuff, huh? Oh, we already went through that one. And this one, well, actually this thing is from Radio Shack. This is a cadmium sulfide, whatever it was, light detector. So yes, that was from one of their kits. And that's pretty much it for that door. Okay, we'll have a change of scene, and we'll bring in the next one. I forgot to show you the bottom drawer. So it should have a few goodies in there. Okay, yeah, that's not Radio Shack. I used to have some from them. These are 9-volt battery holders. They came in pairs. This thing was a AA battery holder. Fuse holder. This may have been, may not. I can't remember. Another battery, 9-volt battery. This is from Radio Shack. This is a AA battery holder. What else is in here? That is not. I used to have one from Radio Shack. My soldering iron from them is long gone. Let's see. No. Oh, that's from Ace. Not the same thing. Here we have another capacitor resistor device. Ah, here's something. A Radio Shack screw base lamp. Okay. That. Anything else in here? No, those are brand new. Yeah, there's some standard Radio Shack screws. Those are not. No. Let's see, no. No, and my guess is this is also not. No. Okay, there's a sounder from Radio Shack. That was one of theirs. This tube is not, that tube is not. No, those are Belden. They're all falling out of there. Okay, so it looks like we have pretty much cleared this of any Radio Shack stuff. Just those 9-volt battery holder things. Okay, so we've covered that drawer. Let's move on. Well, this thing is too big for the main camera here. So we're going to start at the bottom drawer and then we'll reposition. But what do we got here? Well, got a lot of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so Radio Shack breadboard, you can see the age of it by the color of it. No, not. And then here you can see the standard Radio Shack stuff, 3-amp circuit breaker, the adjustable current sensor, no, that's Heathkit. What was that? This is a 1.5 on LM317 likely. No, 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 and okay, all of these little solar cells they have back here, those were all Radio Shack. This is actually the container they came in. They were stuck on a card, and then I put the leads on it. They had no leads. I put the leads on it, and then I made little holes in the end to put that. So I got a whole horde of those things. That's a no, that's a no, no, no. Okay, so we shall repackage this. Go up to the next drawer. Okay, got all the things shaken up. A piezoelectric speaker element, still in the package, starting to corrode. Another LM317, yep. No, not Radio Shack, not Radio Shack. Fuse holder is very likely Radio Shack. Speakers, no. These are all stuck together. No, no. Super bright LED from Radio Shack. Make sure, yeah. And Radio Shack is an inductor color code, and that side is the resistance color code. And this was a serial gender changer, DB25 to DB25. Okay, so we'll have to shift things around so we can go look at this next level. Down here, down below here are the big drawers. This is the next level up. And let's see what we got here from the last. Yeah. These big jacks, these are Radio Shack. I'm not sure if that one is, but that one is for sure. Let's see. And no, there's some HP stuff in there from when I tore apart some HP stuff. These type of sockets were, but no, that's about it. So just these big audio plugs. Let's see, the next one is, oh yeah, some more of these fuse holders. Now the shorter ones and the older ones are definitely Radio Shack. The newer ones are not. This circuit breaker, which I bought a long time ago, is from Radio Shack. Did you see these? Yeah, these are Radio Shack. And I have one of these from Radio Shack. I don't think this is one. And that's some Hewlett-Packard stuff, so no. You can see that just about everything I've got at one point has been affected by Radio Shack. Some of these things are, and some of them aren't. Some of the small ones are. They came in an assorted package. You got like 25 for whatever. I've got these mixed together, but some of them are Radio Shack, some of them are not. So people want to know, what is this Radio Shack thing? And, did they really sell anything? Well, you can start to see. These big clips like this are not Radio Shack, but the smaller ones down here, down below, like that one. It's got a smaller tail end is. And, well, these things are. Okay, so we'll move up to the next level. Let's see, can we still see what's going on? Yes. Okay, looks like we got one drawer that has no Radio Shack stuff at all. Okay. Yeah, these things are all Radio Shack. Radio Shack. Yeah, not sure if that one is, but the bright and big plastic ones, those are all Radio Shack. Let's see. I don't think anything in there is. And a lot of these things are, these adapters. This is one of those things where I went into the Radio Shack, it was closing down, and the guy had a box, and I said, how much do you want for these parts? And I said, I'll give you like $2 for these parts, and he says, give me $5, you can have the whole box. So, yeah, okay, we already did that one. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, these things, Radio Shack, Radio Shack. That was Radio Shack, Radio Shack, Radio Shack, Radio Shack. No, yes, 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 and no. And up here, yeah, but I can't remember. Some of these are and some of them aren't, so I would say maybe a quarter of these are still old Radio Shack. Okay, can we still see what's going on? Yes. And this drawer is just an old motor, and nothing in there is Tandy anything. All this foam. This is what when you bought chips, this is what it came in. So it was anti-static foam, and no. So you would get the chip, it would be on that foam, and then it would be in a bubble pack stuck on a card hanging on the wall. And well, these are all power plugs. So yeah, I mean, like almost all these are Radio Shack except for that one I'm seeing right there. Radio Shack, Radio Shack, Radio Shack. Yeah, all this stuff is. So all these power plugs are Radio Shack. Yeah, did I have an obsession with the Radio Shack? Well, it was, I mean, to be honest, it was convenient. They didn't always have the highest quality stuff. But, you know, you could go get something if you needed a power plug or whatever. Oh, there's something. Assorted opto isolators. Okay, so that's what those chips are. Those chips are 8-pin opto isolators, which I don't remember what project that was for. Yeah, most of these sockets and the wire wrap stuff are all Radio Shack. Nope, this is from some HP stuff that I tore apart, some optical drives. Well, that was a chip holder. And more foam, so it looks like there's not much in that. And ditto this. This is an SN74LS. I think that may be a music generating chip that I got from Radio Shack. And I can't tell what those are. Can't read them. Okay, but very likely Tandy parts. Yeah, this whole setup is from Radio Shack. Everything from the battery holder to the chip holder to the board it's sitting on, and that thing is. And none of that back there is. Okay, so let's see what other surprises. If you're thinking, oh, that's got to be the end of it, right? Oh, no. This is just the beginning. Now let's see what we got in this bag. Looks like circuit boards. And yeah. This was actually from Radio Shack. They sold it alongside of one of their boxes that had some cutouts in it. But all these are, and you can see that one's still in its packaging. Hewlett-Packard. Component PC board, double-sided copper clad, some really primitive stuff. And then I really like these because you could put a dip in here, and yeah, you could either have a 1 or 2 dip project, and it was just really, really convenient. Let's just take a look at a few of these. These are almost all Radio Shack project boxes, and you can see this one's still in its original packaging, as is this one. They called it a project enclosure, strong, durable ABS plastic, etc., etc. But yeah, lots and lots of project boxes. And then there's my small motor box, and these used to come in pairs, these yellow ones. One of them has gone away. This is Radio Shack, this is Radio Shack, this is Radio Shack. This one's still in its original packaging. It's a plastic bag anyway, so also Radio Shack. And I've got another thing over here. Oh yeah, look at this one. This stuff is not Radio Shack, that's not, but these are all. That's a ceramic capacitor, resistor, resistor. Sale price, 39 cents. Oh, wow. And then the color code things. Okay, so that's that for those. This is my Radio Shack AM only radio, which tells you how old it is, because at some point they passed a law and said, if you're going to have a radio, you have to have it both AM and FM. So there's that. This is a power supply, and this is the 7th iteration of it. It started out as 100% Radio Shack, but over the years it's had more or less parts involved. Right now the whole insides are something else, but the outside, this case, which has a steel top and an aluminum bottom, which was really nice because you can use that as a heat sink, and the top was very strong, so it was kind of crush proof. But everything on the front, except this and this, are all Radio Shack. So this, the fuse holder, the knob, and then the 5K pot that's behind it are all Radio Shack. And you can see that. Yeah, you can see all the holes from the past lives of this thing. I've got a whole bunch of these boxes full of miscellaneous parts. But here's an LM317 from Radio Shack. Probably from Radio Shack. All these mounting components for the different type of transistors and power things. So there it is in the original packaging. A couple of them over here. Yeah, a couple of them in their original packaging. Some stuff that's not Radio Shack, not Radio Shack. Yeah, okay, next. Okay, here we are with our inductors. So most of these are Radio Shack. These used to come like in a bubble pack, and you would get dozens of them for, I don't know, not very much. Most of these are Radio Shack. No, that one's not, but these others are. They also came in a package of many. Ditto these. And let's see, go back here. No, this is a choke. That's actually a Radio Shack choke. The others are not. No. I have some, these may be at audio transformers, yes. No. Back here again, no. And then these are, actually these may be, yeah, you got these also in packages of dozens and dozens. Not those though. There we go. Some of these, and I went through and had to figure out what the values were. Labeled them all myself. Nope, those are not. I think these are, those may be. Again, all inductors. And then, no, not those. Okay, next. So these are transistors and such. This was actually a Radio Shack part. In fact, it's got the part on it. SRS 1173, and it's a 400 volt. It doesn't say how many amp. What do you call it? Full wave bridge. So no. Some of the diodes in there are. These are not. Some of these old LEDs are, and these nice LED mounts, they used to sell these. That's a Radio Shack part. Nothing back there. That is all Radio Shack stuff, from the circuit board to the whatever. It's a voltage meter, a digital voltage meter. And I think that's about it for this. Yeah, some Radio Shack LEDs. Let's see, what do we got in here? These are capacitors. Most of these are not Radio Shack, and I've burned through most of those. But the one exception is this. These are tantalum capacitors. And yeah, so I've got a whole horde of these. But yeah, they used to sell these. I would say about 90% of these are from Radio Shack, and the others are recycled. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, not. Most of them are from, been salvaged from something or another. Yep. And yeah, nothing there. And this is a mega capacitor and switches. So the capacitors are not Radio Shack. There's some crystals in here that are, which were left over. But a lot of these switches, that's what's Radio Shack in here. Just, you bought these one at a time. This is Radio Shack. And all these little ones like that are, most of them are not, most of them are recycled. And yeah, that's all recycled, that's all recycled. Yes, recycled micro switches. Yeah, okay, so that's it for that one. So we're getting a little thin on Radio Shack and some of these. And here we have, okay, so the tan colored resistors here. Those are all Those are all Radio Shack. Yes, I had so many that I have not run out. And the same is true over here. The tan ones and some of the new ones like this one are also Radio Shack. And of course, then I have my little Radio Shack cheat sheets. Back here, no. Some of these, like that's a Radio Shack. And they also came in a bubble pack of, you got a whole lot of them, I don't know, 10 or 20 or something. No, yes, no, yes. Let's see, a lot of these are, so these are the heavy duty resistors. Some of these are, like that one is, but the capacitor is not. Went over those already. And these are all recycled. These came from Radio Shack, but they are something you'll probably never see anymore, but they were from a floppy disk drive, and it was the termination resistor. So got some of those. Probably never had any use for that. So finished off the plastic cases. What do we got next? Still have a Radio Shack bag. Okay, and then I've got this, and I think that may be about it. Let's dig through here. I'll put it off to the side and pull stuff out. Kind of dig through there in my Albertson bag. Yeah, let's do it. Well, we start off with some Archer test clips that were 95 cents. These came from there, but they're no longer in the original. So, old phone jack plugs. That is a 12 volt piezoelectric buzzer, and this is the later packaging. This is one of the plugs we saw earlier. That's not a tantalum capacitor, still in its original packaging. Let's see, banana plugs. Another piezoelectric element in its packaging. Ceramic capacitor. Dual binding posts like we saw in the power supply. Coaxial power plug. Some of these, the bubbles just fallen off of it because the glue is given way. Neon lamps times 2. 4000 series CMOS. So yeah, a dual 4-input NAND gate. Oh yeah, those are popular. 3 amp terminal circuit breaker. Epoxy rectifier. Let's see. Oh, another set of those. Here are those terminal strips. So they came in stuff like this, and they also came in bigger lots. Oh, these things. I can't believe I paid $17 a piece for these, and I had 5 of them at one time. Yeah, a single solar cell, 4-inch. Specifications were, I think they were supposed to produce, 0.55 volts at 2 amps. Yeah, okay, sure. I'll power the EV with those. More neon lamps. Grab a handful of stuff out of here. A 1-pole 12-position rotary switch. The bubble off of something. A 8-position dual roll barrier strip. Coaxial DC power plugs. We saw those earlier. Hook clips. Some more of those. Smaller size banana plugs. Tantalum capacitor in its original form. LM386 power amplifier. Those are fun to play with. Neon lamps again. Screw type bulbs for like model train sets. A snap-on filter choke. Yep. This is one of the things we saw earlier in the other box. So this is, I think, is a 5K. Yes, it's a 5K linear. So I think it's a linear pot. Yeah. Phono jack plugs. Another one of those, not interesting. More phono jack plugs. More of these, and somehow a rectifying diode is on there, okay. 5-position terminal strips. Lots and lots of terminal strips. Yep, I told you about those, and in case you had any doubts, insulated binding posts, something I don't know, ceramic disc capacitors, battery holder, one of these adapters that I told you I had dozens of. So I mean, I had them for every frequency range, anything that Radio Shack sold. They didn't sell well, so towards the end, that was the kind of thing that that they had. Saying, there we go. Another piezoelectric buzzer. And what was this? Mercury position switch. I don't think you can buy those anymore. And I think that just about covers it for the bag. Okay, well, that is it for our tour of Radio Shack parts that I've been acquiring over, well, I acquired over starting 50 some years ago. And this is about 1/3 of what I had just a few years ago. I gave away about half of it. And the other parts I've used up over time, but yeah, that's it. Well, I hope you found that useful and perhaps a nostalgic trip back into the past. Thanks for watching.